you love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am the Wiz! And I'm here to review the 2019 computer animated film from Pixar Studios, Toy Story 4, featuring the voice talents of Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Annie Potts, Tony Hale, Keanu Reeves, and a number of other people. Good Lord, that's a lot of people. This is, of course, a Pixar Animation Studios film. So I will go over real quick again my thoughts on the Toy Story franchise. I love these movies. I saw 1 and 2 in the theaters. I saw 1 a number of times in theaters, actually. I don't think I can really understate how amazing it was to watch that in the theaters, see the computer animation, how it looked, how it ran, and everything. Like, I thought that was amazing. I thought 2 is the best. I think 2 is the absolute best of the Toy Story franchise. I think it's a really good movie. It is up there with me with movies like Spirited Away. It is a really good movie, very emotional movie as well, especially when they introduce Jessie. Like, Jessie is my favorite character of all the Toy Story franchise. She is really well done as a character and well voiced as well. By, is it Joan Cusack? Yeah, Joan Cusack does her voice. She's very good in Toy Story 2. And when 3 came out, I liked it quite a bit, but at that point, I was like, I think it's time to end it. Like, this is the perfect way to end it. Not as good as the first 2, but it's a nice bow where it just feels right to end it there. And then they did 4. And I've heard mixed things. Critics loved it, of course. It made $1 billion in the box office, so people went to see it. But I've heard mixed things. I hear some people really like it. I've heard people absolutely hate it. But the consensus is it doesn't really reach the first 3 at all. It's got its own issues, which is why I kind of decided not to see it. I was like, I'm fine with 3 being the end and just moving on from there. I don't want to see this being played out longer. But they did a 4th one in 2019, and we're reviewing films based on toys or about toys. So I thought, okay, you know what? Let's rip the Band-Aid. Let's just check out Toy Story 4. So let's get into the review of Toy Story 4, a Pixar Animation Studios film. Before we go into the review, let's get to the plot. Woody and Buzz are now living with Bonnie as their toys. Andy gave the toys to Bonnie at the end of Toy Story 3 in a very touching ending to 3, which I thought was a perfect way to end the film. But, of course, they did a 4th one, so we're here. So let's just get past that. In the 4th movie, it turns out that Woody is basically an unfavored toy. He was the favorite toy of Andy. He is the one that gets thrown around and tossed away with Bonnie. And basically what ends up happening is Bonnie goes to kindergarten and has a hard time making friends, but she creates a new toy named Forky, who is played by Tony Hale. Basically, the film is making sure that Forky stays by Bonnie's side with the help of Woody, and Woody goes to great lengths to do so. And that is essentially the plot of Toy Story 4. You'll notice that some characters are not mentioned. We'll get into when that happens. So, for my first point in talking about Toy Story 4, same theme, different story. So, the theme of Toy Stories 2 and 3 were basically being replaced. 1 was basically about the 2 toys, Buzz and Woody, vying for the affection of Andy. And then 2 was a story of the toys realizing that their time is finite with their kids and that they will be replaced by growing up, which is what made Jessie such a great character, because you understood why she felt the way she did, and they did an amazing job with that character and making you feel for that character. Which made 3 a darker film, but I think it's still a very good film. And they got to the point of how everyone was replaced. I think 3 was where they were put into a kindergarten or a preschool. That film went through its paces. It was a very good film. It wasn't as good as the first 2, but still very good. 4 retreads 1 and 2 in a strange way, because, again, Woody has to deal with being replaced as the favorite toy, and then there's a new toy, Forky, that is created from wholesale from Bonnie, and basically has to adjust to his life as well, even though he, in a funny way, is very different from the other toys. So it goes through the same themes as 1, 2, and 3. It kind of mashes all three together, and I think they do it with okay results. Well, unfortunately, the whole plot revolves around Woody trying to get Forky to Bonnie after Forky does something to lose himself from Bonnie. The comedy involving Forky is funny for the first half, but it kind of goes nowhere as the second half goes on. Because all you know about Forky in the first half is that he likes trash. He likes to be trash. He is trash. It's the joke of the film for the first half. And that makes it really hard to resonate as to why you should care about that character unless you just dive wholesale into just Bonnie being attached to Forky. Then on top of that, it kind of also makes no sense to why Woody feels the way that he does with Bonnie when it's very clear that he is being replaced. You could argue that he's just not aware of him being replaced until the later half of the film. That whole plot line just doesn't resonate that well with me in this film. I think it's fine, but it's definitely a step down from the first three. Let's get to the second point. Mixed results and character changes. Some of the hate that I hear from this film mostly deals with character changes. Let me get to the positive one first. There's two big character changes in the film, and that's with Bo Peep and Buzz. Bo Peep, I think, is a really good character change. She becomes a lost toy, but she becomes fiercely independent and takes care of her own and herself, and is a very interesting and very likable character. There were hints of the romance between Woody and Bo Peep in 1 and 2. I don't think she was there that much in 3, I don't remember, to be completely honest. When they introduced Bo Peep again in 4, with the first scene where they show her being sold off, and then when she's introduced as a lost toy, it's actually a really good change. And I actually really like what they did with this character. I especially like Annie Potts as the character as well. I liked her in the other movies too, but she was barely used. She is written very well in this, and I really like what they do with this character. If you really think about it, though, it kind of messes with the theme of the entire series, which I understand some people don't really like. But I think with this film specifically, it's a good thing. The other character change is Buzz, which is one I do not like. I do not like Buzz at all. Buzz from 1 to 3 was a co-lead. In the first one, they were the competition. In the second one, they were partners. In the third, they were partners as well, going through a dramatic change. In the fourth one, he's a side character. And he is a dumb side character. They make him incredibly dumb. They make him, like, laughably bad. What they do with Buzz in this movie is they have him conflict with his quote-unquote inner voice, which is not something he really dealt with in the other 3. I know he went through something in 3 that could explain away the dramatic change of his character, but still, it just seems really odd how you have this one character that has a set defined characteristic as to who he is, then it just seems to wash it away. You just say, oh, that's not him anymore, this is him now. Like, he's just an idiot, he just does dumb things, that's Buzz now. That doesn't sit right. That's, to me, I think this character was really badly written. And then other character changes are very minor. A lot of characters really do not talk that much at all. Some voice characters had to be changed for obvious reasons. Some died, some are too old. But for the most part, like, the two big changes are Bo Peep and Buzz. I really like Bo Peep's change. I did not like Buzz's at all. So I thought that was a mixed bag on that. And my third point, it's The Godfather Part 3 of the film series. What do I mean by that? So, well, you might already know this, but I'll go over it anyway. So, The Godfather, great film series. Probably one of the best film series of all time. I think it's probably like the third or fourth best. Number 1 is the Before series for me. But the thing with the Godfather series is that 1 and 2 are outstanding masterpieces, and 3 gets a bad rap. For, I think, good reasons. Because if you have an audience that are used to those movies being absolute masterpieces, and the third one is not to that level, it will get an inordinate amount of hate. My feeling is Godfather Part 3 is a very good movie. It's just unfortunately named Godfather Part 3. If it wasn't named Godfather Part 3, it would get a lot more praise than it does. But because it's part of a trilogy of films that are known as some of the best of all time, that's why it gets the hate it does. Does it deserve it to a certain extent? Yeah, it kind of does. They're still very good movies, and that's how I feel about Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 is a good movie, but it's very much the black sheep of its film series. It is nowhere near as good as the other three. I think 3 dipped in quality, but I think it still is a really good movie. But 4 is just good with some big problems that I had. I still enjoyed it. It's still a fun film. There's some good things about it that I will recommend. I think the animation is really good in the movie. I like certain aspects of it, but as something that continues Toy Story, it really does not match to the other 3. It really does not match to the other 2, specifically, I would say. I would look at Toy Story 4 as the Godfather Part 3 of the Toy Story series. It's not as bad as some of the bad Pixar films, like, let's say, Cars. I think Cars is a terrible movie. It's still good, but compared to the others, it really is a step down in quality. Who do I recommend this for? I recommend this for people who enjoy the humor and warmth of the first 3. That stays constant. It is a very clean, very warm, but also funny film at certain points of the movie. If you just want that kind of vibe to it, it does give that to you. Second person I recommend it for, if you like colorful and gorgeous computer animation, it's a Pixar film. It's stunning. It's really well animated. It looks really good. It has a very good sense of place and character. It's just a gorgeous thing to watch. It's just a gorgeous movie to watch. And third, you're a Pixar fan. If you are, you already seen it. I mean, come on. It's a Toy Story movie. You already know. Anyway, so who do I not recommend this for? I do not recommend this for people who react negatively to character changes. I mentioned in the second point that both Bo Peep and Buzz went through big changes. Bo Peep, I think, were positive changes. I think that people who liked Bo Peep will like the changes that were made, but there are a lot more fans of Buzz than there were of Bo Peep, and what I will say is this. If you really like Buzz, and Buzz is your favorite character in the first 2 or 3 movies, prepare for that change, because it is a very different change to Buzz. And if you don't like that, I would say avoid this film. Just forget it was ever made. The second I do not recommend this for is if you prefer the trilogy to be its end. I'm kind of on that boat. I would have rather 3 be the end and that's it. But, I watched 4 because of the theme for this week. Even though I did like the film, I still would rather believe that 1, 2, and 3 are the trilogy and that's it, and move on from there. So if you are that way and you prefer the third movie to be a tight end to the story, then just avoid 4 altogether. Overall, yeah, I do recommend Toy Story 4. I do like aspects of it, but it's in the context of also saying that even though I do like Toy Story 4, it is the black sheep of the Toy Story movies. And I really do not understand why they went to this point. To me, even though I liked it, I would have rather 3 be the last one they move on. But because 4 is there, then what do you do? I mean, what else can you do on that? I know there is a rumor, and it's pretty much confirmed, I think, that 5 is coming. After what happens in this film, I don't understand where they can go. Unless they are just going to make it a Woody movie. I do not understand where they're going to go with Toy Story 5. At that point, I just really think they should just stop Toy Story altogether. I think Toy Story should be at its end the series now. It should have ended with 3, but they should end the series now and then move on to something else. To me, at least. The themes have been done so much now, and they do such a different change for the end for Woody in this movie that it would seem really weird to then move forward with that change, because now you're dealing with a whole other theme for Toy Story that just doesn't make sense for the rest of the franchise. It should be over at this point, but they're apparently doing 5. That's Disney for you, unfortunately. So they're apparently doing 5. What are you going to do on that one? But overall, I do recommend it, but I will say up front, it just does not compare to the other 3. It certainly does not compare to the first 2. Where I would say 1 and 2 are masterpieces, 4 is good. And that's the gulf quality that there is to these films. So yes, I do recommend Toy Story 4, but prepare for that gulf when it comes to its quality. Now, if you want my full review on this movie, you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. You'll have my full written review right on the site, along with a link to the video that has this review that you've just listened to. Okay, so for next time, me and Kim are going to be reviewing Barbie on Saturday. On Tuesday, Kim chose for me on my birthday week Shakespeare in Love, a film that I have seen in the theaters and I've seen before and I want to see again, so that'll be interesting. Thursday, Kim chose another movie that I haven't seen that she apparently liked a lot and is surprised I haven't seen it. And it's a film from 2013. It stars Steve Carell and Sam Rockwell and Toni Collette. And it's called The Way, Way Back, directed by Jim Rash and Nat Faxon. I gotta be honest, I don't remember this movie. This probably is around the time where I kind of took a break from watching movies. But Kim recommends it, so she also recommended Elizabethtown. So that might not be the greatest thing, but we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. So tune in next time where me and Kim review Barbie on Saturday. Tuesday, I'll be reviewing Shakespeare in Love, and next week, I'll be reviewing The Way, Way Back. I am The Wiz, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.